Welcome to the Loud Quiet. Ooh, empty nester. Okay. What does that mean?
Yeah, I think that actually probably is the theme of the empty nest. What are we doing? Let's do this. Let's do this thing. I don't know if I'm recording. Yeah. Okay.
Great. Sans children. Just us. We need a tissue box up here. Follow along on our journey, and maybe, we can learn from others.
Yeah. I don't have a clue how to be empty nester.
This is the Loud Quiet, living the empty nest. All right. Hello. Welcome back. The Loud Quiet, episode 32. We are coming to you. You might have a clue as to, if you're watching, what our discussion is going to be about, since we are decked out in our Duke attire today.
Yes, it's going to be an academic discussion around the history of the chapel at Duke. And
I'm out for that, so.
Yeah, my limit is it pretty.
Yeah.
No. Today is definitely going to be all about basketball, all about March Madness, because we are recording this on the Sunday after the first and second rounds. And so it's the first weekend of March Madness. It is what I often call and sing in my head the most wonderful time of the year. The Christmas song is wrong. This is the most wonderful time of year, and has been for quite a while now.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I will come in when I come into the story, but you know.
Are you saying you weren't there from the origin story?
You going to Duke, obviously, right. Most people who are listening know that's, a big basketball dynasty.
And it's because I didn't actually start as a basketball fan. In fact, even growing up, as much into sports as I am right now, our family wasn't sports obsessed. My dad was a Cowboys fan, and he went to UT, but even that, it's not living in Austin. We didn't go to Longhorn games. We didn't tailgate. We didn't do that. It was kind of there, but our recreation was more outdoors at the lakes, or I was doing scouts or something. I don't remember sitting and watching a lot of sports, but I do have a memory in high school, and I can't remember the year, but I'm pretty sure it was late 80s, that for some reason UT, not for some reason, because they were good that year, had advanced. And there was something that it was later in the evening, and I turned it off. I think maybe it was the Thursday game or something. And I turned it off, went back to my room, and just was listening to it on the radio, which there again, what a crazy thought to think. But yeah, I was listening to the basketball game on the radio, and some shot sent it to overtime. In high school, Rick was like, wait, this is actually kind of fun. And I sprint out and watch the rest of the game out in the room and watch that. And that was my first exposure to March Madness. Mm-hmm. I didn't carry it forward, though. I just have that memory of it. And some might say, oh, well, is that why you chose Duke? I didn't even know Duke was a basketball school. Like, I'm not kidding. I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, even... because you went and toured. Surely that's a big thing on the tour there. I mean, it was when we took Tanner to tour there.
It definitely was,
but you didn't realize it until...
If you're saying to someone, like, let's say that it's the best telescope in the world or something. If you're not deep into astronomy, you're like, oh, okay, that's a nice telescope or whatever. It probably was, oh, that's interesting. That's their gym where they play basketball.
Mm-hmm. And, my family was very much into sports. I mean, even my mom. And I didn't really, they were huge football, and I know they all, my dad, I'm sure, did, I remember him doing his bracket that was in the newspaper at some points. So I was the opposite. I grew up in a very sports family-oriented family, but I didn't really care. It was just there until I got immersed into it.
And it was a journey to get me there. Talking about the tour, I remember now that there were T-shirts, because the tour I would have toured in 91. That was the year that Duke won its championship, the first of what was going to be a back-to-back. And so I know that we bought T-shirts. We saw that there was something there to this basketball thing, but that wasn't really part of the decision process at all. Well, then fast forward to freshman year, and I got to be a part of what is widely regarded, some may fight me on this, but widely regarded as the most famous shot in college basketball tournament history, the Leitner shot, the Grant Hill pass to Leitner to win. And it was a moment that I will not forget. I remember watching it because we thought the game was over. It was a great game in and of itself. And this is not going to be a podcast about, hey, let's do a podcast about the game. It just, that was perhaps the moment where it's like, wow, this is it. I'm in. Yeah. It is going to be a basketball life for me.
Well, and I will say that shot, yes, there's an entire documentary about it.
And
you were in
it. Now, we should qualify for those listening. I wasn't featured in it. Yeah. I'm in the background and I'm behind him, and you can visibly see me. And so go back and watch I Hate Christian Leitner, the 30 for 30, and you'll get to see me.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, but that's fun. So you really did get.
We were in Cameron every single home game. I do not recall missing a game.
Yeah,
it didn't matter what the school was. It didn't matter, and I'm so glad. There's things that all of us look back in college and regret. Oh, I wish I'd done this. I wish I'd done that. At least I know this. I maximized my ability to be a part of what Cameron Indoor Stadium was and is, and have never had a chance to go back.
Yeah. And
into the stadium for a game.
Right. We got to go back in, but yes. Well, yeah. So then when we started dating, I did. I enjoyed it. I got into.
Sure, you're not an anti-sports girl.
No. I like sports.
You like
it. I probably had not watched. Again, football was what I always thought of. Yeah. I probably had not watched a lot of basketball. I did in high school because one of my girlfriends played, she was very, very good on the Plano East team. And so, so we had the chance to go to a it was the
regional finals.
The regional finals.
So it's that middle weekend out of the 3 weekends down in San Antonio.
We did that in San Antonio. That was, I don't know if we were, I couldn't find the year, so I don't know if I don't think we were married yet.
No, we were dating. Yeah. This was a dating trip, and that's the one that it was Minnesota playing, and you and I still joke today to hear a collective crowd of thousands going, M-I-N-N-E-S. Oh, yeah. And you and I both flinched the first time we heard it there, sitting in the stands going, that is the harshest accent collectively we've heard.
And they were the Gophers, and
they were what?
The Gophers, yeah. That was awesome. That was fun. That's the trip I do think. I can't remember if it was that one that we just thought we'd find a hotel when we got there, and we ended up having to stay out way far.
Pay way too much for probably a motel.
I don't even remember. It was not anything. Yeah.
Oh, we'll just swing down to San Antonio because we were probably visiting my family in Austin or something like that. And hey, let's just bip down.
I think it was just a last minute. That one I think was a last minute thing that we just did. But you also, though, when you were in college, you went to.
Didn't get to go to any of the tournament while I was in college, but there was a great trip with Stacey White and I. Stacey White and I did go.
Yeah, I thought
that's right, we were. Stacey and I. It was Rick Finley and I that went to one after college. So I did a few of these. Yeah. Well, as Duke would advance, you could get access to tickets following your team.
Yeah, and that so then after we got married, we did get to go to a Final Four again back in San Antonio,
which is a great place. What a wonderful place for a Final Four. No wonder it keeps going back.
That is a good venue because this stadium is literally on the Riverwalk. You can
walk from there.
Yeah, that is. They have figured it out.
And it's fun watching the teams on their little boats going by, or pockets of fans going by. That is a city that has figured out how to do a Final Four.
Yeah, and that was really fun.
Loved every bit of it.
Yeah.
Now you did, and that was fun. We did get to watch Duke in the Final Four. They lost to UConn, I think, in the semis, so I have no love for UConn since that moment. No. But you mentioned that this was after we got married. Mm-hmm. Basketball had a significant influence in our wedding.
Yes. I was told we cannot get married in March or into the first weekend of April, because it's usually always the first weekend of April. So
I was being thoughtful, right? I didn't want this to look. this is an important part of the calendar, so I don't want family to get in the way.
Well, we'll get to that. But I did want to mention that, Tanner's middle name is Cameron.
That's right.
And for a while, you still wouldn't come to grips with, I think really the influence was because it's Cameron Indoor Stadium. We liked the name.
I was going to say,
but I think that
your
we probably would
phrasing
not
there
have
is the one that I
picked
disagree
name.
with. It's in the I am never willing to admit that that's why we did it. I have always been willing to say it influenced the decision. I like the name Cameron regardless.
But yeah, so
and it had influence.
So that is Tanner's, middle name, and he is just as much into all of this as
in fact,
you are.
On
even
Thursday,
more.
he launched the first text. Now, some of that's because I want to make sure I don't, because of the 2 hour time zone and all that kind of stuff. But he's the one who said March Madness, baby, and those sorts of things.
He has like 3 brackets that he's in different groups, and so this from dating on, yes, this has been, and especially when we were dating before we had kids, it was, if there's a Duke game on, even in just regular season, we don't do anything else. We are sitting and watching this Duke game.
That's right.
So.
And I was thinking about that obviously now I've been more flexible with that. Sometimes I'll even miss it, God forbid. I think a lot of it's just easier that I can time shift the watching of the game, that if it's on at a certain time, well, I've got to record. Where back then I got to make sure and set the VCR.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about that now. But you're right. The intensity of how I watched and what I watched was much higher back then.
So let's tell the story of what you did in our house in Houston.
Okay. Now everybody that if you just hit pause right now, you're like, what the heck did Rick do? Well, yeah, Rick did damage the house so that he could watch basketball. Try to imagine an era before now where now you truly can just at the touch of a button have all 4 games on the screen at the same time because they're being played on 4 channels. Your YouTube TV handles that. Easy.
Okay, yeah, wait. Let me interject right here because I was getting mad the other night because I kept getting bumped off of YouTube TV because you were watching on 1 or 2. You had it on 2 devices because it was the night of the storm. Yeah. Tanner was watching it in Arizona and must have had to. I was like, nope. I am not getting bumped. Someone better give me one.
To be fair, you were bumped because of weather. One of those devices was watching to make sure we didn't get run over by tornadoes. So,
but then you didn't switch it back. I was like, "Are you done now? Get it off your phone and put it back." So
once we're out of the tornado damage,
so I can watch something.
So going back to this era where it was, you're just regular cable TV. There's just barely even the concept of the internet and what that was like. Well, there was a way on websites to watch what was then March Madness on demand. And it wasn't something that you could really get into your TV. You had to watch it on, say, your computer screen. Well, in our home in Houston, our TV room was in one room, and the internet, because you didn't have Wi-Fi, was in another room. And I wanted to be able to watch the game on the TV, but also any alternate games that aren't, because you didn't get to choose. You got dumped. Like you didn't get so if your game was on for another region of the country, you didn't get to watch it. So there were times that I couldn't even watch a Duke game during the tournament because of the way CBS had it set up. So, yeah, I drilled a hole through the wall between the living room and the computer room, ran a coax cable to be able to run internet into there so that I could attach it to the laptop so that I could watch it over a dial-up connection. Yeah. So I'm sure it was high quality watching, but by golly, I could watch my Duke game if CBS decided that Houston, Texas wasn't going to allow us to watch the Duke game at that time.
And I can't believe I just was okay with
We did. We never repaired it. We just put a piece of furniture in front of it.
Oh.
We did. We just put a piece of furniture in front of the big old hole. So if somehow the owners of the High Meadow home are listening to this somehow, sorry about that. Hope y'all have patched it up by now.
Oh, I'm sure it's been found. So, yeah, that was 2001, I guess, probably.
Probably somewhere in that era, yeah.
So
I didn't drill any holes in the house this year.
But I love whenever you send me a picture from work and you've got one monitor going with this, one monitor,
It is good to be an
yeah.
independent consultant. It is good.
Yeah. And I know we have pictures, but that was back when you had to take pictures with a physical camera, and I'd have to go through closets to find
Yeah, I don't want to
those
do that.
things. No. So, anyways, but yeah, so we fast forward, I guess, to when your daughter's birthday.
Well, we didn't know it was her birthday at
Yes,
the
I
time.
know. Yeah. So yeah, Tegan
When was she originally supposed
she
to be
was
due?
supposed to be born on April 26th,
Right. Well
which
out of the zone.
yeah, which was like the date of your sister's wedding, and I was like,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
"Ooh."
I
I
forgot about
didn't,
that.
Rachel,
I
if you're listening, I never told you that, but so yes, so it's my mom's birthday is also very close, so that weekend, which was Final Four weekend, we had my mom was turning 60, so we had a huge party for her that I had planned and at a restaurant in Frisco, and I was finishing painting the nursery, doing stuff. Well, then on Monday, championship day,
That's right.
someone decides that she's ready to come, almost 4 weeks early. So
I get the call at work, and it's midday. I
it
don't
was
remember
like
exactly.
you were at lunch. Y'all
I was
just got
on
into
my way
lunch.
to
Yeah,
lunch. Had to do the screaming U-turn, the speeding back. We got you got you to the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's fine, but it's the afternoon, and tip-off is 7-ish.
She was born at 5,
That's right.
but
All of the pregame.
okay, yes, but
Why don't you tell it from your perspective?
yeah, because here's what I love. I'm, about to have a baby, and you and the doctor, you had on your Duke shirt, and you and the doctor are talking about, oh yeah, who do you think's gonna win? Because
it was Carolina versus
yeah,
somebody.
yeah,
I can't
yeah.
remember the somebody.
And so y'all are down there chit chatting, and I'm like, having a baby. Hello.
You're like in this indelicate position, legs in stirrups, and we're talking about the motion offense.
Yeah. So yes. So that child, as you said, well, I hope she's a basketball fan because she just
messed up
disrupted
Final Four
every
for me.
year.
Every year. It's always going to be her birthday. Which
And-
there's some interesting foreshadowing of her coming on that date, involving in Final Four where she ended up at school. So
Yeah.
but yeah, she did. As much as I tried to plan our wedding away from it, and even thought, we're in the clear.
Nope. But she,
And Carolina won that game too. I was ticked.
And at least, the game's always on a Monday, so you're not typically doing too much birthday celebrating on Mondays. But,
You weren't going to travel to go see Final Fours
yeah.
and then blow off her birthday or anything like that. That's the.
And I saw someone posted this week, they were at a sporting event and they had their phone sitting down with something else on it. And I said, oh my gosh, that's what you used to do, because with cheer, drill team, even soccer, there were several games or competitions that you were at with the phone going, with the basketball tournament on, and watching whatever's going on here. We would find restaurants that had TVs so we could
There was
watch.
a dance comp last year, was it 2 years ago? Either way, in the recent past, that I vividly remember being at a taco shop and watching Duke beat Carolina with a last second, just brilliant, one of those classic last second shots.
Yeah.
I think it was on a phone. I don't even think they had TVs going there. And so watching it
yeah,
on a phone because of dance comp. So yes, as much as you attempt to avoid family influence in basketball, somehow they wove their way back in.
Yeah. So that was, I'm trying to think of other things. I mean, this really, and like I said, when we were early on dating and even early marriage, it was the month of March on weekends. And I mean, I remember it used to kill you when it would start now it even starts Tuesday and Wednesday, but it always started Thursday, Friday, the first 2 rounds. And, you used to say, I wish I could just take off one of these days and just go and watch. And, and over the years, you've been able to do that. Now, I get mad those 2 weeks because my stories,
Your stories.
my story that is on CBS that I've talked about before and I've watched since I was young, they're not on Thursday and Friday of this week or next week. And yes, it used to upset me really. Now I have enough other things to watch, but
it is funny. We all of that intensity around things has definitely evolved. We were talking about that. Not only just being willing to watch the game at different times or that sort of stuff, but there was a time that I would be very emotionally wrapped, and I still am. I want my team to win, but when they would lose, I was really in a pissy mood.
Yeah.
And what I love is somebody back then in the young dating days found a way to help me out of that mood with a little bit of a lace and lingerie. I haven't seen that,
and that doesn't happen anymore.
So I'm back to being really cranky when Duke loses. It used to be this kind of twisted sort of Costanza-esque vibe of, well, maybe I kind of want Duke to lose.
No, when they got beat by Carolina, a couple weeks ago, you came in and said,
yeah,
where's the lingerie? It's like, sorry, that's not happening.
Oh, well.
So
a guy can still hope. There's still hope.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a fun season. I know how much you enjoy it. I haven't done a bracket in a really, really long time. I actually did a bracket this time, and I texted Tanner and said, hey, I'm doing one. You don't do them anymore because
I quit doing them decades ago. Yeah,
it made you.
I'd say I don't like the way that I watched the tournament. It ruined my enjoyment of it because I want to root for the underdog, not who I picked on my bracket.
Yeah,
so I quit doing them a while ago.
But so it'll be interesting to see. My Final Four is still intact.
And who do you
there
have?
hasn't been anything crazy.
Who do you have winning?
I have Purdue.
Oh,
so,
that's right.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I don't like your pick there, but
yeah, I know. I didn't go with any. I mean, all of our family's teams are Baylor's still in, Arizona still in, Duke's still in. We won't talk about the other team, but we'll get.
Well, we will talk about that a little. And I think that's the foreshadowing that I described. Is Teagan comes on a basketball. Of all the schools for her to end up at, she ends up at Arizona, which has been known for being a basketball school. And Teagan is not. She enjoys sports. She's not rabid about it. I wouldn't even call her passionate about it. She enjoys sports, and she enjoys seeing it live on TV, not so much. Even this year, of course, Duke had set up a home-and-home series with Arizona, and Arizona comes to Cameron and beats Duke this year.
Yeah.
So this girl who impeded my Final Four has now gone to a school that's beaten Duke, and I'm wearing Arizona clothes when I used to kind of really dislike them, and now I'm rooting for them.
She does. She was in class when Arizona was playing their first game on Thursday this week or Friday. I can't remember which. They were Thursday, Saturday. So, but I mean, the second she got out and looked to see if they won or not, Tanner had already fired off. These are our texts, and there's 4 pages of them, so we're not going to read them all out loud. But Tanner had already fired off. Oh, I forgot to talk about this.
Well, let's go back to this.
I know, yeah. Okay, sorry. I didn't go.
Hey, remember what the first episode's titled?
Yeah.
We're not professionals. Yeah. We're not professionals. We totally forgot about this.
So 2020.
No Final Four. No tournament.
There was no tournament. Everything stopped.
It was in the middle of the conference tournaments that they all broke down. Yeah, that's right.
So there was, that's our entertainment in March and April. So we were reduced to watching slippery stairs competition
on the Ocho.
This is what it came to.
So if you remember the slippery stairs, it was like stairs, maybe kind of covered with soap,
and they had to.
It
was the most ridiculous thing. So
thank God we're out of that era. I totally forgot about that.
I know that was a really hard because there was no soccer, there
were no sports.
Yeah, that was a rough season. So. Anyways, but getting back to the text. So yes, we have 4 pages. Tanner kicked it off.
He kicked it off by
by
saying, hey, before the game
yeah,
started, and Arizona's March Madness begins and
yeah.
ends today. Go Long Beach. And Long Beach was the darling story of the
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 coach that
15
had
seed that was going to maybe beat the 2
yeah,
seed.
and well, the coach that had been fired before and was still coaching.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, the minute she, when she got aware and got out of class, then she talks about Tegan's going back and forth. I mean, it's just, and
Let the talk continue.
yeah,
Yeah.
some of her comebacks were really funny.
Well, because Tanner goes to Arizona State, they did
Yes.
not have a good year in
No.
basketball. They should be better than they are. They're not, and so he says, well, at least we're winning the series against y'all in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
And her response,
well, yeah, have fun with baseball. I think I'd rather watch my team in a fast-paced sport they actually win.
she's
So,
salty.
yeah. Now, there are people who like baseball. Yes, it's not, but yes. So, I mean, there were some good, comebacks, and
I was loving it. I was eating my popcorn,
yeah.
just watching them back and forth. Didn't say anything.
So yeah, so they were having fun and just, you know, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I know we're
The
reading.
pause for those that are listening, you should watch because we're reading it here. But Teagan basically just said, "Hey, we won more than ASU, no matter what you say, Tanner."
Yeah, and I told her uncle Casey has Arizona picked to win. So, yeah. So I mean, that has been the trash talk between those two because they go to rival schools has been during football season and now during the Final Four, even though, Tanner's team, yes, is not even in it. But
Nope.
yeah.
And you know what? That's fun. It's been fun to watch that this kind of stuff. As empty nesters, we're not going to be as always like the focal point of our kids' lives. Duh. What a duh statement. You really enjoy seeing the siblings enjoy each other without us. Yeah, I mean, we're
Yeah.
in this text chain, but we really are like, I'm just popping popcorn and just eating and watching it. I would love if it's sports, whatever it is, that's one thing you hope for your kids is they maintain that connectivity going forward and have a relationship. And I'm confident that they will.
Yeah.
It's just nice to see it.
And they have because they text each other without
Yeah.
being on our family chain, and especially with help with
about us.
help with math, help with
Yeah.
will you read my essay? They
Right.
they text and so yeah, but so that's been fun. And yes, so now you talked about the empty nest watching of games, and it is different. I stay for the Duke games, and I watched most of the Arizona game yesterday, but then I kind of go and do my own thing. I let you.
Well, and I kind of liken it to anything that's enjoyable. Like it feels like I've been on what is about to be a 4-day bender of basketball. At the end of it, you kind of need a cleansing detox. We're not quite there yet. I got the Duke game this afternoon. By the end of this weekend, sure, I'll want a little break. As we've gotten into this empty nest phase, and as I will just call me, I don't even want to use the word matured, but just evolved into where it's fun, it's important, but I'm not going to let it just be the only thing I do because there's a ticking clock to all of our lives. And so if something's fun, let's go do that something fun. Well, what's great is if you can combine both.
Yeah.
And we've talked about going to the PGA, the headquarters being near us. Then there's a great open area when the weather's right to sit outside. Well, they got a big TV.
Yeah.
So yesterday afternoon, we're like, let's head out there. Let's go grab a few drinks. Let's sit in some Adirondack chairs and just watch the game out there with the sun. And it was great.
And we did. And our neighbors came up because they were already coming up there was a dueling pianos thing going on later in the evening. And so they had already planned to come out. So they came up and joined us, Shayla and Eric and Lexi. And so, yeah, it was just a nice sitting outside. Weather was almost perfect. It was a little chilly, and then you get hot because of sun. I mean, I have sun on. I got
I got a little
sun on my
sunburn
face.
yesterday.
Yeah,
A little bit. A little touch.
so, but yeah, no, that's such a nice asset to have that
Right.
close to us, and that we can just, I mean, in 3 minutes be up there and for a nice afternoon, evening. So yeah, so that was fun.
March Madness,
Different
man.
way to watch March Madness. Yeah. I mean,
And-
we have been, that would be interesting to see because there's been times I think when I was flying. I think you came because I remember watching a game in like the hotel bar
Sure.
in Lubbock or something.
Oh well, that was that was I don't know. It wasn't March Madness.
Oh, it
That was
wasn't?
just
That
a
should
regular
oh, okay.
Maryland game where Duke was
Oh,
down
yeah,
by
yeah.
10
And came back.
and
Yeah.
down by 10 with 1 minute to go and came back and
Yeah.
won the game.
And then when we were, dating, we used to every Duke Club would meet at the Yard House, right? Wasn't it the Yard House? Or Ben's? Oh, Ben's. It was
Ben's Yard House with
Yeah,
those-
Ben's Yard House. Yeah. So we would go there. We've watched it definitely in some different.
How many hours
fun
have
places.
we spent watching
Yeah.
games? It would be interesting to know. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I know that when this episode releases, it'll be Thursday. So hopefully Duke will be, I don't know if they're playing the Thursday or the Friday, the regional finals here in Dallas. Now, this is sad. Of all the things, they're going to be in Dallas if they win.
It's not sad. It's ironic because
No, it's sad. That we are flying to Arizona to go see the kids for Easter, which I'm so looking forward to that. Just if Duke wins, to think that I could have, and I could get tickets in Dallas to see them live at a regional finals. But maybe Duke will advance to the Final Four, and I'll get to watch them in Arizona since we'll be out there. But anyway, when this releases Thursday, it'll be right there before the Easter weekend. And so I know that we're excited about the Easter weekend. I also, listeners, viewers, I just want to wish all of y'all that are listening to this in real time, Happy Easter. Enjoy, Good Friday and everything that means tomorrow. And then
Enjoy
the Easter
time with your
weekend,
family.
the family and everything that this weekend is about.
Yeah. This will be another year. We have always gone to my parents' house. The kids hunt eggs. I mean, and so this year we did it one other year, and this year will be the second year that we haven't been there to do that because we're going. The kids our kids' schools don't give them Friday and Monday off, so they can't get back here for Easter.
And with both of them in Arizona, it just makes sense. Now, I guarantee we'll talk more about this in next week's episode. Logistically, it makes sense. I know we miss and the kids miss doing the normal Easter.
They still enjoy the egg hunt and doing that thing, but they just can't get back here for it. So Carter will get all the eggs he wants.
And we'll see. We'll have a report out from that when we talk about this next week. So. Yeah. But right now it's March Madness. It's time, Clancy, for us to take the headphones off because the first game of Sunday is about to start, and so we need to wrap this up.
Okay,
we're done here. It's time to have it back to basketball.
All right. Well, I guess with that, this has been another episode of The Loud Quiet, Living the Empty Nest.